Welcome to Jewish Boy Calls His Mother. I'm your host, Sadia. This is my ADHD mother. Hey, Emma.
Yes. To let our listening audience know, I've been experimenting with different angles of my house to try to get a nicer background.
Yeah, it looks good. You look good, Emma. You look fantastic. Honestly.
That's what like behind, like a nicer background
Yeah, no,
behind
I
me.
get it. Your
Like the
background,
Shabbos candles, I thought would be nice,
that would be nice.
Yeah, Shabbos. So anyway, I was thinking of a topic tonight of a funny incident that happened to me that was like, how can we say, socially awkward moments. I think a good name for this podcast for the subject would be If Looks Could Kill.
Okay, let's go with it.
Okay, what happened was many years ago. I was um, I was shopping for, let's say, feminine hygiene products, and up until that time, most of the feminine hygiene products were um, basically name brands. There were no generic or cheaper brands at that time. So the store, I think it was Value Food, came out with their own brand of feminine hygiene products, which was a lot cheaper than the usual name brand. So I was at the cash register, I was checking out, and it was a female cashier. And I figured, a lot of times the stores will give their employees discounts and will actually want them to try out their products so they can recommend them to customers. So as she was about to, I had two packages, one of a name brand and one of the store brand, which was cheaper. And so I asked her what her opinion was before she rang it up. And she said, yeah, that she had tried the cheaper store brand, and it was fine. It was really good. And she recommended it. Well, the bagger, who was this guy, comes over and he points to the store brand and he says, yes, he says, this is just as good. And she and I, we both turned around. We gave this guy like this nasty look, and he looked at us and went, uh-oh, I better get out of here.
Now, what if it was two men to a woman?
Well, I would never ask a man about these things.
No, what I'm talking about is, what if two men gave a nasty look to a woman when she was butting into a conversation that had nothing to do with her?
She would probably feel threatened.
Yeah.
Good point. That's yeah, isn't that interesting?
It's very interesting, isn't it?
So you could tell the guy felt uncomfortable and wanted to, two women giving him this nasty look. I mean, he's going to get out of there. But I think a woman would be scared.
That's what's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, I remember I was thinking about this today. I was cleaning my my skillet, and I remember these cartoons I used to watch as a kid. One of them was about these two chickens, one rooster and one hen, and the hen like is beating up on her husband with like a cast iron, and sometimes uses a rolling pin. And I was just watching the cartoon, and I was thinking to myself of like, it's just if the roles would be reversed, I don't think the hen would even exist.
Something I forgot who mentioned this. It was somebody, I think it was some radio personality talking about that, how when we see like situation comedies, or we see situations where a woman is beating up on a man, we laugh. But God forbid the opposite. No, nobody would laugh. I think what it is because, let's face it, the average woman is not as strong as the average guy. And a punch from me to some 6 foot, 250-pound guy would be like nothing, like a feather hitting him. He'd probably just look at me and laugh. But God forbid the opposite. Oh my God, yeah.
Well, that's what. Yes. That's what's kind of. That's where humor comes in. Like, you see, like, if a little kid has like these impulsive behaviors, it's kind of funny and it's kind of like, silly. But if that same kid was an adult that had the same impulsive behaviors, it'd be
Ooh.
like, what is wrong with you? Like, do
Yeah,
you remember the
yeah. What's the practicality of the situation? One is for sure not lethal at all. In fact, it's funny because the other person is so, so like a baby. Like, have you ever been hit by a baby?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay. So you just it's like just laugh. Like you don't want to laugh, but you kind of like when you laugh. This little like one time I told you that time about the daycare. Remember the
Yeah.
evil toy? And these two little they weren't even walking yet. They were that young. They were just crawling. And these two babies got into a fist fight. And of course, we pulled them away from each other, but we were laughing about it because one's obviously is not a lethal situation. The other is a serious lethal
Yeah.
situation.
Well,
It's
like,
as simple as that.
I think what I was really trying to get to, I was trying to ask you, like, what were some impulsive things that you did as a kid?
Hmm. Impulsive things I did as a kid. Um. Oh yeah, the finger painting.
Ah,
um. The I don't think the paints in my day at that time. Now they have non-toxic washable paints,
yeah, you could
finger
practically eat
paints.
it.
You can it's nothing, just wash it off with water and it's gone. Yeah, but and also I think a lot of the materials that are used today are stain resistant. But such was not the case in my day, especially when I was in kindergarten. Anyway, this girl sitting next to me was wearing this very pretty white blouse and we were finger painting, and our hands were all full of finger paint. She said she didn't like my picture. I was in kindergarten.
Mm.
So, what is a kindergartner going to do when the kid next to you says she doesn't like your painting, and she's doing this nice white bus? I took my hands with the finger paint and just smeared it all over her blouse. And the teacher ran over, was horrified, was yelling at me, "Look what you did to her blouse." Now that I think back to that particular teacher, there were some things I was punished for that really, had she been the type of experienced uh, kindergarten teacher that she was supposed to be, she should have known better. Like we were finger painting. How come we weren't wearing smocks?
Yeah.
We weren't wearing any smocks, no protective clothing whatsoever. I mean, if you're going to have kindergartners finger painting, you might want to tell the parents we're finger painting today. Send in like one of your father's old T-shirts to wear, and not even over their clothing, but to wear while we're finger painting, and at least change their tops. These are kindergartners, so you can have them change their tops into some old, you know, um, like T-shirt that their old big T-shirt that their father doesn't mind getting ruined. And
We
there was
did.
one time where she left the class. She left our class standing at the door. By the way, it's interesting. In my day, when I was in kindergarten, when we used to line up in kindergarten and first grade, do you know they used to line us up, boys and girls separate,
Interesting.
boys on one side, girls on the other? Yeah, I didn't think anything of it at the time. Thinking back to it, it's like, now that's interesting that they would separate us like that. You know what the boys would complain about, and the
What?
boys would look at the lines and say, "How come there are so many more? How come the girls' line is so much longer than our line?" Because there were, I mean, there were a majority of girls. Was in general, girls in general usually outweigh the population. There's usually more women in this world than men. So anyway, so we were lined up at the door to go outside, and she went back to the desk to take care of something, leaving us there by the door, two lines, little kindergarten kids, not totally unsupervised. So me and this boy, we started poking through it was a big door. We started poking through the space, and the space where the what would you call it?
The
The part of the
hinges,
door that's attached.
the hinges, the
The
hinge
hinges.
side of the
We
hinge
start,
side of the
we're
door.
little kids. We start poking through the hinges and putting our fingers through the hinges, everything. So she came over and she said, you could have gotten, your hands very badly injured. And as punishment, we weren't allowed to go out. She was passing by a first grade class. We had to sit in this first grade class,
Hmm.
as punishment instead of going out to recess. And the first grade teacher looked at me. She goes, "I had your sister Ann in my class, and she would never do anything like that." Now, first of all, idiot teacher, you don't go comparing siblings like that to each other. Okay, where's your sense of
Seichel,
now?
yeah.
You don't even have to have a PhD in psychology to know this is wrong. This is bad psychology. And I think back to that teacher. Well, what were you doing leaving kindergartners totally unsupervised by the door while you were taking care of something at the desk?
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because we're swapping impulsive stories. And Ruthie told me this story I think like a couple days ago, because we were going through some old photos of her when she was a kid, and one of the photos had this old couch with like on the bottom of the couch it kind of has like a flap, so to
Oh yeah,
speak.
I've seen those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
when she was a kid, she took scissors and was like just slowly cutting the flaps impulsively, just because like it felt really good to go ahead and cut something, and just
Uh-huh.
like cut this whole piece out of that couch. I also wanted to mention something
What was the
else.
what did her parents do?
What did her parents do?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I don't really remember what her parents did. I'm trying to see if they punished her, or they just kind of let it be. Um, I'm trying to remember. Her parents, I think, were a little more like understanding, a little more lenient than the way we
Mhm.
grew up. So I don't think it was anything so drastic.
What do
Like if
you
it was
mean?
like,
You didn't grow up with love and understanding?
well, I remember when I smashed that wall. I don't necessarily remember what Tati did to me. I can't remember. Do
Well,
you remember?
he didn't, he was not happy about it, but he yelled at you and asked you why you did it. And you told him because you wanted to see what was inside.
Yeah, I was curious about the wall. I'd never seen a wall before, and like it was like being so crazy.
It was
Yeah.
like, what, whatever kids think of.
Uh, I think actually I got the story mixed up. I think it was the back part of the couch that she cut, so no one
Okay.
saw it. But I do
Okay.
think her parents like yelled at her a little bit. Um, but I also was thinking of, I remember it was my birthday. I was in, must have been nursery or pre 1A. I remember this, um, where I got this Play-Doh pocket knife as a gift, and I brought it to school, and all my friends were playing with it, and I was really happy that everyone was sharing it, and that was the coolest thing ever. And then the teacher said, "Okay, Sadia, please put it back into your cubby. You can't look at it. You can't touch it till the rest of when you come home." I said, "Sure." And then some kid went into my cubby and took it out and started playing with it. And I said, "Hey, that's mine. Give it back." I took it from him. And just then the teacher saw it. She's like, "Okay, I'm taking it. I'm never getting it back." And I never got it back.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I did not even know about the incident.
I never said anything because I grew up in a situation where it's like sometimes life just hits you in the balls. You kind of just have to take it because there's no point of like saying anything. And it's kind of like
I wish
how
would it's a, yeah. What is, yeah, we're
shoulda,
older
coulda,
now.
woulda.
Kids do that though. I've noticed that that's one of the qualities of. I think back to some things that sometimes that I didn't say something and should have.
Yeah.
That's kids.
Because it's no,
Yeah.
it's not kids. It's the way kids have been taught all these years.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been listening to more like other perspectives of raising children
Mm-hmm.
and trying to get them to be more vocal and not so quiet. Because when a kid is quiet, that's when they can be, like abused.
Mm-hmm.
So there's other methods now to get kids to just speak their mind in a polite manner and handle this. Like, I guess I'm not gonna say it's gentle parenting, but it's another way of handling things where it's like it helps kids realize that they have a voice. Because a lot of times kids don't feel like they have a voice, and then people do things to them and they don't say anything until 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years later, where they're like,
Right.
"Oh, this happened to me." Well, why didn't you say something? Well, because I felt like I couldn't. I felt like no one would
Yeah.
listen to me. Like
I
when
know.
kids
Yeah.
say something funny and exaggerated, I remember as a kid, like being told that I was lying a lot. You're a liar. That's not true. It's a lie. And that's always
Yeah.
something so frustrating when you're trying to say the truth and everyone tells you that you're a liar.
That is sad.
It's
I
it
don't know. Yeah.
Look, this is because I that's why I've been reading more up on this gentle parenting thing. Have you heard that a little bit about it?
Yes.
What's
Yes,
your
that sounds very
opinion?
familiar. I didn't read the whole book, but I've heard, I've heard of the book. I've heard of the title. I never read it though. Like, what are some of the aspects of the book that you feel that you like to incorporate as a parent?
So a lot of things it talks about with gentle parenting, and I'm not really getting books. I'm really getting from people that I find on Instagram or people I speak to. Like shout out to Dr. Rothstein with his terrific dad program he's been working on. Where it's what one piece is if the kid is crying, you don't ignore him, you don't smack him around, tell him to quit crying. You get down to their level, you start breathing with them. And as soon as you start breathing and regulating your breathing, they'll copy you and regulate their breathing as well.
Hmm.
And it's the gentle parenting style is more of like also similar to how you raised us in a way of consequences have actions, not necessarily not necessarily
Actions have
punishment.
consequences.
Consequences of action. Yeah. Wow. Sorry. I
That's
am. Woo.
it's reciprocity.
Good night, everybody. Um, actions have consequences, and therefore it's not so much of a punishment; it's just a consequence of the action.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a form of gentle parenting that they talk about, where it's not like you stayed up all night. I'm going to punish you. Like, no, now you're tired. Yeah, now you're going to be groggy. Now you're going to realize the importance of sleep. Now you're going to understand what you need to do. There was some gentle parenting concepts that you had us do when we were younger. And a lot of Montessori concepts that I really enjoyed, where it's more of like they'll figure it out themselves. He'll pour himself. You'll crack the eggs. You'll check the egg. A lot of hands-on styles that I hope I implement, God willing, into my child.
Let
And
me say
that's
about the eggs. I was thinking about Yosef with the eggs.
oh, you mean from me?
Was two. There's a couple egg stories.
Oh, right, Yosef's story. I think we mentioned from me's
You
story.
mentioned that where the hard boiled eggs for dinner. Can I help you? Sure.
Oh, yeah,
He
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
realize, he didn't realize, hey, you're supposed to take the shell off.
I remember that. Yes,
And you came into the
yes.
kitchen, yummy eggs you picked up when you bit into it and you spat it out. That's when I realized what's going on. I realized he just took the eggs and cut them in half without removing the shell.
Yeah, I do remember him actually constantly biting into a bunch of apples because he saw Sleeping Beauty one time, and then started biting into apples and then pretending he would die, and then like he did it to like tons and tons of apples that like I'd want to eat an apple and it would just be like bitten with like and it would brown too, which would make me visually not be able to want to eat an apple. Like, ugh, it's gross.
Do you remember he would put on like what a black like a black hood and a coat, black coat
Oh
over his
yeah,
head, and he would put apples in the basket to like the part of the witch, and he would come in and go, "You want a poison apple?"
because they never said, "Do you want a poison apple?" But just being a child, getting the lines wrong.
Oh,
Um, but yeah, did you ever do anything like that when you were a kid? Copy a movie or TV show?
Oh yeah, sure. Well,
Like what?
all girls copy Cinderella.
Oh yeah,
They want to be the pretty princess. They want to get dressed up in like a pretty dress, and
I did
that.
that.
Yeah, kids, huh?
What?
What'd you say?
I couldn't hear you.
Oh, I said what? Did you say I did that?
No, I think it was like one time Arab Shabbos. Everyone got into their Shabbos gowns, and like I just thought it'd be funny to go ahead and like put on your shaitel and put on a dress and like run around. People thought I was a girl, and I started laughing because they realized I wasn't. Um,
I remember
uh,
Purim.
uh,
One Purim when you got dressed up in drag for Purim.
yeah,
I pulled the van into the shul's parking lot, and you know something? You did such a great job of putting that costume together. I didn't recognize you. I'm not kidding. You came over to the van and you asked me some questions about, where are we going to park? What are we going to do after how long are we going to go right home, whatever. And after you walked away, I thought to myself, my goodness, that girl looks so familiar. Who is she? She looks so familiar. In other words, it was you.
I was
But
surprised you didn't recognize me.
the costume, your costume was so amazing. I'm telling you, I did not totally recognize you.
Yeah. Um.
No comments about me being clueless sometimes, okay?
No, no comments at all. No comments at all. I was just talking about how lovely you are. Well, so back to being dressed up as a little princess when you were a kid. Like, did you and your sisters play Pretty Princess or anything like that, or like?
They didn't have Pretty
I
Princess
know
when
I
we were
said like that.
children.
Did you have anything like that?
No, there were no games like, but we would of course get dressed up in our mother's jewelry and cop. Little girls they cop around in their mother's high heels,
Hmm.
that type of thing. And they no, my mother had a closet downstairs in the basement of some of her old, really nice dresses from, oh my gosh, it must have been from the 1940s.
Oh wow.
1930s, 1940s, and they had sequences on them, and they were really pretty. They were very, very nice dresses, and she would let us play with them. She would let us actually get dressed up in them when we were little girls and walk around in them. But there was one type of dress up I liked to do when I was a kid where I was very impressed. We studied, of course, in American history when we were in kindergarten and first grade about the pilgrims, and it showed like you would see the guys with the black tops and the white collars and the hats with the buckles and carrying a rifle, that type of thing, type of vintage. We had pictures of them. So I used to like to wear these black pants with this black top and this black like hat, to look like them with a buckle. And my parents bought me when I was a kid. They used to buy me toy guns. In those days, a lot of parents bought their kids toy guns in those days. So my parents bought me this toy rifle, and I remember one time walking around in it, and one of Aunt Anne's friends coming over and looking at me, and she said to Aunt Anne, "Hey, she looks like a pilgrim, like one of
That's
those pictures
cute.
we saw at school of pilgrims."
Whatever happened to your mother's jewelry?
Um, well, I got it was, we just after my mother passed away, we distributed equally. Each of us got a piece. Unfortunately, there was some of her jewelry that was stolen in the assisted living home.
Oh wow.
We were innocent. We thought this was a really well supervised place, and we learned the hard way that there's no place that is well supervised. As a matter of fact, I was at the JCC one time in locker room, and I overheard this woman talking to another woman about that they have to put their mother in an assisted living home, and she told her the home, and it was the same one that Bubby Reno was in. Came over to her and I warned her. I said, "Hey, I said, do yourself a favor. Take all your mother's good jewelry and either keep it in the safety deposit box in the bank or keep it in your house." I said, "Don't send any of your mother's good jewelry with her." And I told her
Mm.
that that there were some very nice pieces that got stolen.
What were some of the pieces?
Yeah, her diamond engagement ring, her
Oh
diamond wedding band.
wow.
Yeah, and we reported to the police, and we
They're
checked
gonna
all
do
the local
nothing.
pawn shops, and never
Nothing.
were able to find it. No.
Nothing. Yeah, that's very frustrating. What pieces do you have?
Um, the only thing I the only thing I have is I have a pair of diamond from Bubby Rena, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, I got a diamond necklace.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, that's something, I guess. Um, do you know, I guess, what kind of gifts would your father get your mother?
Um,
Would he always come home with flowers? Would he always get her jewelry? Would he do what he can and get something that he thought was nice? Or was he a good gift giver? Was he a bad gift giver?
oh gosh, it's good to think back. You know what? I'll tell you the truth. I never remember him bringing her flowers because she had terrible hay fever.
Oh, that's probably why.
She did. I remember when I was a little girl picking flowers. You know how little kids are. They pick flowers. Hey, I've got flowers for you, mommy. And she didn't want to tell me, oh, take them out. She wanted, didn't want me to be upset. So just, oh, thank you. And she took them and sniffed them and goes, ah, shit.
Oh, that's awesome. So your father didn't get her flowers because of her hay fever, but like, I guess what kind of jewelry that he knew, like you gifted her, or
Gosh,
what do you,
I'm sure he did, but I don't remember, quite honestly.
did
I'm
he
sure
ever
he
write her
told me.
write her a song or anything like that?
Yeah, I
He
guess
did?
so. He used to, you know, he used to make up all sorts of, like,
Like what?
let me call. Well, he didn't make it up. No, he used to sing to her the song that he liked the best that he used to sing to her was "Let Me Call You Sweetheart." That one,
Mm,
"Let me call you sweetheart, I'm in love with you." That was one of his favorite ones that he would sing to her. As a matter of fact, when your cousin Tova got married, they she requested the band to play that
mm,
in memory of a Baby Reen and Zaidy, and I just started crying
mm.
when she played that song. When the band started to play that song and sing it, I just started to cry because I
Wow.
remember that being my father's favorite song that he would sing to my mother.
What songs did Tati sing to you? Move. I have. I'll play one afterwards. I think I have one that.
Your father was kind of tone deaf. Although I
Yeah.
did try to I tried one time to give him a voice lesson.
How'd that go?
I tried to teach him how to sing a simple major scale.
All right, let's
He
try
sing
this. Let's
like
see if I
do
can do it.
re mi fa sol la ti do, and he said he did not hear any difference between do and me. No, it's
Okay.
do
So, yeah.
da da. He said to
Uh,
him, it all sounded like the same note.
oh wow, he really was tone deaf.
I'm trying to think what song he used to like to sing. Well, of course, he used to like to sing "You Can't Always Get What You Want" by Rolling Stones.
Yeah, but
Can't
that was to
always
us.
get what you want.
That
That was
was
one
to
of his
yeah.
favorite. And oh yeah, "World's Gonna Crucify Me."
Oh really?
There was one time, I don't know if I ever told you this or if it's been one of our other podcasts, but there's one time he was in the shower
Yeah.
and I thought I heard him screaming. I got very concerned. So I go to the door, I'm banging on bang. Solomon, are you okay? You okay? You okay? He opens up the door and says, I was singing.
Oh gosh, that's pretty funny. Yeah, you said that before.
Yes.
Yeah,
Getting
but
old, I'm retelling my stories. I'm getting old.
what songs do you try to sing to Tati?
Hmm. I would sing this. I'd get him involved in this little kid song that went, "Little Sir Echo, how do you do? Hello," and I would have him sing back, "Hello, hello," and he would sing, "Hello, little Sir Echo, I'll answer you. Hello," and the other person sings, "Hello," and you sing, "Hello, hello," and it's back and forth, "Hello, hello, hello, hello. Won't you come over and play?" And play. You're a nice little fellow, I know by your voice, but you're always so far away, away.
That's what you do with Tati?
Yeah,
I
like little
never
kid.
remember that, by the way. I never heard you do that with Tati.
I don't think you kids were around when I did that.
That's so funny. What else would you guys do? We only have like 9 minutes left, but what else would you guys do, I guess, when we weren't around? I'm talking about basic questions. Don't I see your thought process. I see your thought process. Just focus. It's a simple question. What
Sounds like,
regular?
this reminds me of like some of the Senate hearings that you
Yeah.
see on YouTube, where a senator or a congressman will ask a simple yes or no question, and
Yeah.
yet like Mayorkas, like the other and Mayorkas will go those sort in the Department of Transportation, we are very please and the
Yes
senator
or
will
no?
say, I don't need a diatribe. It was a simple yes or no question, yes or no.
Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to think. I
Games would you play? What games would you play?
would play chess a couple times. Father always beat me. The only people I can manage to beat in chess are little kids. That's about it. Although your brother did beat me when he was 8 years old in just two moves.
Oh wow.
But I've been playing on the telephone though, like on the
Oh,
iPhone.
chess. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's the chess app there. And it got to the point, the beginner level, I got really good at the beginner level. I was like totally winning all the games. So I decided to go to the intermediate level. Well, let's put it this way. At least I'm not losing every single game. Some are ending in stalemate. But what frustrates me is I'll be playing a game where I've got all his pieces. I've got all the opponent's pieces. I've got every single piece. And I've got some major pieces. And I'm closing in on my opponent's king when suddenly, boom, draw. Draw? Are you crazy? I've got all his pieces. What do you mean draw?
But that's what I've been trying to tell you. It's not about the pieces, it's about the capture of the king. So you have to.
It depends, because I played in some chess games where they actually did consider the pieces.
Okay.
Like if you have all the pieces, and you're closing in on the king and you can't seem to get them, sometimes there are some games where they will give it to you because they will go according to points because you have all your pieces.
Oh.
There was one game I played with this friend where it looked like we were going back and forth and back and forth. We were stalemating. So he looked up the rules in this chess book he had, and he said sometimes you can just go according to points, to which pieces are still on the board. So he added up the points. He beat me by half a pawn.
But I have a question then. Maybe can you go inside the settings of the game and maybe change the rules?
I don't know. I'm
give it a shot.
I'm just playing on the app the way it is.
I know you can play with it. That's it. No one's gonna hurt you. No one's gonna get mad at you. You can play with it, and that's fine. That's what I like about computers.
But the robot might get mad at me.
It has no emotions.
You never know what the robot might do.
Sure.
Like that robot at Sinai Hospital.
Which robot in Sinai Hospital?
The one that told me that to get out, that I was in a restricted area.
Oh.
And I told it to shut up.
I am trying to, oh my gosh. I don't know.
We had that on a previous podcast.
You did?
I'm almost sure we did.
Because I'm just thinking about, God willing, whatever. We'll talk about it later then. But yeah, so
we're doing a podcast on robots.
Yes, doing a podcast on robots. It's a good idea. It's a really good idea. Was there any, I know we're almost out of time, but was there any moment that you had with any of us, like when we were little kids and we would like say certain things that would just come off way too mature for the comprehension that like.
Oh, for sure. Yes.
Like what?
A few things. When Yosef was like 8 years old, he says to me one day, Ema, why is it that people can't wait to get married, and then when they do, they complain about it? And then there was one time I showed, I think it was before you were born. Mm-hmm. Yehuda was like 8 years old, something like that.
Or
you were born, baby or something.
How old are you? 5 years young. I'm 4.5 years.
Oh, younger than Yehuda?
Yes.
Oh, so I thought you were but anyway, Yehuda was like 8 years old, maybe 7 or 8 years old. Yeah. And I showed the kids Citizen Kane, the movie Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
Orson Welles. And after the movie was over, Yehuda took a deep breath and said, they just don't make movies like that anymore.
Well, that's Citizen Kane. That's a whole different story. Did I say anything?
Like he's an old, like Yehuda was like an 80-year-old man would say. He's like 8 years old.
Exactly.
Then there was Hani,
okay,
talk show host. With the anti-Semitic talk show host?
Yes, we talked about that.
Okay, so we're not going to repeat that.
This question is, what about me? That's what I'm asking.
I know.
It's me and you. I've said nothing, eh?
Oh, come on. You had to have said something. I'm thinking. You had to have said something. You had to. Let me think. Please don't be upset if I can't think of
I won't be upset.
Maybe I'll think of something later. I'm trying to think of all the stuff you did in school.
It's a lot of pressure. Pressure.
I remember your love letter that you wrote to the girl down the street.
Oh yeah.
You were 6 years old?
I was like 6 or 7. I wrote a love letter to this.
She came to you were in the living room. You were on the steps, and she and I think a couple of her friends came to the door, and she's holding the letter. And I opened the door, and you look and you go, no, and you turn around and you ran upstairs and shut the door to your room. What's going on? So she says, Saadi, I left this in my mailbox. And I opened it up. It said, Dear Svetlana, I love you.
Oh yeah. I think Tati had a lot of fun embarrassing me as a kid because I was like I had a mad crush on her, but I was like the weird shy kid where like I really like you, but don't talk to me. And it was weird.
Well, Anton and I were noticing a lot of times now we come across men who we went to high school with who we never spoke to us, didn't even look at us, and they said, "Oh, you're Charlene Dickman or you're Ann Dickman." And we said, "Yeah," and we got this reaction like, "I had such a mad crush on you when I was in high school," and it was like, "Really? Why didn't you call and ask me out?"
Too shy. Was too shy. Afraid of too much fear of rejection, to be honest. As I mean, I remember being a little kid, just being so nervous and like really like freaking out. And like I sent her a little gift. I sent her all these things. You know, I had a huge crush on her as a kid. It was just so looking back, it's just so funny because Tati would just make fun of me for it. And he would be like, "Ooh, Svetlana's here." And then I would get this like sinking feeling in my stomach, like, "Oh, go away, please. Oh God." And then like I would run away or I would hide. And he would just like laugh. I remember one time it was like Sukkot. And then like I was like just talking to everyone. And then like Svetlana comes by and Tati's like, "Ooh, Svetlana's here." I'm like, "Oh God." And then I run away. It was so weird and silly and stupid. That's funny. But yeah, it was a funny little adventure. I think that's what happened. I got her a little bug that said "I love you" on it. Like and
Aww.
I it was like this like bug in a jewelry box, and I got it for her. And the way I got it though was I was dumpster diving behind a pawn shop, and then my friend Robbie went ahead and told her that that I found it in the trash. I don't know what she did with it in the end. I don't know, but like I was like so embarrassed. I hated him for it for a while. He lied to me when I was a kid. I was like 6. He was like must have been 7. He lied to me and said the reason why there's all these walls by the highways is so houses don't make fun of the highways. And I like believed him for like a year or two until like, wait a second, this doesn't make any sense. Oh God. Just being a stupid little kid. That's what's so enjoyable. Just being a dumb, stupid kid making dumb, stupid mistakes and learning from it. Yeah. Now as an adult, you can't make too many stupid mistakes where you're like, ah, well, screwed that pooch. But yeah. All right. I'll talk to you later. I'll give you a call.
Okay, sweetheart. Have a great Shabbos. Love you.
Have a good Shabbos. I love you very too. Bye.
Bye bye.